Thank you, Deputy President. And today I rise to speak on the motion on the budget from my colleague opposite, Mr Mulholland. And Deputy President, in making this speech, I rise to say that I know a little bit about family budgets. In fact, I'm a renter, Mr Mulholland. Did you hear me? I'm a renter. And as a father of 6, I know a little bit about what you need to do to make things make ends meet. And I also know how important it is that our economy bounces back from one of the most financially uncertain times in recent history. Acting Deputy President, I was proud last week to visit some of the local organisations, schools, not-for-profits and more. The motion says that the budget means Victorians are being punished. This budget means that we will honour our election commitments and deliver for them. And that is what I did for 4 organisations that I visited last Tuesday. Deputy President, last week I had the privilege of attending 4 deserving organisations to let them know some good news. First, I visited the Camel Primary School, where I met Principal Gale, School Council President Stuart Lindsay and Parents Association President Christina Woods, to let them know that we're kick-starting planning on upgrades to their fantastic school. Then I visited Vision Australia, where I announced we'll provide a $60,000 grant to help them continue delivering key information to our community. And after that, I met with Susie from the Waterwell project. I was proud to announce that we were giving them $100,000 to support the health and wellbeing of the communities from the migrant, refugee and asylum seeker communities. And finally, I visited the amazing team at Port Phillip Community Group to confirm that we'll be committing to our election commitment of $55,000 to support their efforts. Promises made, promises kept. This budget is sensitive to the ongoing cost of living crisis. This budget is very typically Labor budget, one that sticks to our values, one that does the fair thing, the right thing. It addresses the key areas of government work and funding, the fundamentals that change lives, development and infrastructure, health and education. But there has also been one overarching theme in the budget, mitigating the cost of the living crisis. When times are tough, we need a budget that is compassionate but yet considered. And that's exactly what this budget is. We're in a hard place right now, everyone is. The cost of living crisis isn't localised just to Melbourne. Belts everywhere must get pulled in and get a lot tighter. Deputy President, before the pandemic, we were faced with a very different climate. Economic growth and employment were particularly strong, averaging 3.3% and 2.9% a year, respectively, over the 5 years to 2018 to 2019, and the highest of all states. The unemployment rate had fallen to a 10-year low of 4.6% in 2018 to 2019. The Victorian economy was experiencing an extended period of strong jobs growth, with over 468,000 new jobs created between November 2014 and March 2020, more than any other state or territory. We were leading the nation. This does not mean that we turn our back on the people that need the help through this most tough time. This does not mean that we can bury our heads in the sand, but we face the reality. I am committed to ensuring that hard-working families, those families that are doing the hard work, the right thing, are rewarded. Education is one of the most important things the government can invest in, and it's a massive investment to support families. Education can define the difference between having opportunities and being left in the dark. It opens doors. Andrew's Labor government believes in committing to ensuring that our education system offers students across state pathways to a future they want. This encompasses all levels of education, and we're investing in every level of education, from the kinder to tertiary education. This budget follows through on the commitments that were made in last year's budget and also promises we made to the Victorian people in the 2022 state election. One of those commitments is the ongoing funding of the free kinder program. All young Victorians deserve to have a leg up in free education. Free kinder is exactly how. The government knows this. With free kinder families, all of the backgrounds will be able to access much-needed childcare. We're also transforming our specialist schools with a $235 million package specialist schools in Victoria that will be able to deliver services better fit for students living with a disability. And Deputy President, I visited a Belmore school the other day for a lot of students that were disabled, and the facility that's being built there at the moment for those young kids is going to set them up well into the future, and we look forward to seeing when that building is complete and I'll speak a bit more about that facility later on today. Students living with a disability and their families often feel like the system is set up for their failure, and this is not good enough. Our system should be established to support these people they cater to, and with over $200 million, our state's education system will be moving closer to a more fairer, inclusive model. And I know this firsthand, having visited the Belmore School, a school that helps those in need, a school that works with those with the most complex issues, both physical and mental. The Andrews Labor government is also pulling schools into the future by funding more energy-efficient schools. Schools deserve to be in line with the future, so it is important that we address emissions from them. I'm proud to be a part of a government that believes in building our schools up rather than shutting them down. In my electorate of Southern Metro, I was proud to announce last week that we will be supporting the planning process for upgrades of Campbell Primary School, and there are countless other schools across the state also benefiting from the Andrews Labor government budget. But Deputy President, we know this must all be paid for. That is why the debt repayment plan, the COVID plan, will balance the necessary public spending with the appropriate fiscal restraint. That is why our budget is being implemented in a fair way, a balanced way, revenue measures aligned to this size of business that buy payroll, to the land owned by commercial, industrial and other investors. We will not compromise our economic growth, and we will not compromise our prosperity. It is vital that households and small businesses continue to be supported to drive our economy. Their role in the economy and jobs growth is critical and will remain so as the economy navigates global challenges of high inflation and rising interest rates. So, Deputy President, that is why we are investing in households. A responsible government recognises that it is important to invest in health, and it supports families. It means greater outcomes for all Victorians. There's a couple of key areas that we're really focusing on in this budget. Women's health is a key issue in this budget. We believe that all Victorians' health issues should be taken very seriously, regardless of sex or gender. That's why we are funding $65 million for 10,800 additional laparoscopies and to treat debilitating endometriosis, which affects 1 in every 9 girls and women. We also recognise the unique struggles that First Nations women face, which is why we have set aside $58 million for 20 new women's health clinics and a dedicated Aboriginal-led women's clinic. This will help overcome some of the barriers to treatment that women face, such as costs, confidentiality, geographical location of services, cultural and communication differences. Additionally, $12 million is going into research initiatives that will directly benefit women's health, such as an inquiry into women's pain management and early work to establish a Women's Health Research Institute. And I am proud to say that clinics and health providers across my great electorate of Southern Metro are part of the funding is going to improve women's health, going to the Monash Medical Centre in Clayton and to the Alfred Hospital on St Kilda Road. We're also working hard to establish mental health clinics across the state, especially in Southern Metro, with one of them popping up in St Kilda and one in Malvern. We are funding the planning of these mental health and wellbeing centres as part of the $95.7 million package to address mental health in Victoria. There's much concern over the repayment of our COVID debt. As our Treasurer explained last Tuesday, the Labor's Andrews government heeded advice and borrowed money to financially protect vulnerable Victorians. Ask any economist and they'll tell you there's good debt and there's bad debt. The good debt is the kind that we've got. It's the debt you get from building the future for people of Victoria, and it's the kind of debt that turns into something meaningful. It's an investment. But it is the time we started paying it back, and it's work that the Andrews Labor government that is pulling this state into the future, and this budget just confirms it. This is why there will be a range of savings and efficiencies implemented across government, totalling $2.1 billion over 4 years. This includes reduction in corporate and back office functions, reduction in labour hire and consultancy, expenditure and efficiencies across public and non-financial corporations and public financial corporations. These savings are designed to make government more efficient while maintaining frontline services. So, Deputy President, this budget does what the budget should, supporting people of Victoria. We're addressing the debt we accrued over COVID without harming Victorians, and we're continuing to do what matters. Doing what matters to bring back the SEC, doing what matters in health and education, doing what matters for Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Berger. Ms Hermans.